but I think most people will get out of the way of a McLaren as well, certainly the pace that's had in the last 18 months, 2 years, so I'm not a big subscriber to that. I think it's your demeanour when you arrive that makes the difference.
Lap 30 in the 78-lap Monaco Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher is just under 16 seconds now ahead of Mika Häkkinen, and he doesn't come in. And Eddie Irvine is 1.9 seconds in third place behind the McLaren, and 2.4 seconds ahead of David Coulthard, who is fourth. So there you can see Häkkinen, Irvine, second and third. Look back for David Coulthard, there he is in the McLaren, second, third and fourth. They've only got about 4.5 seconds covering them. Rubens Barrichello is nearly half a minute down the road in fifth place, and he's still got Heinz-Harald Frentzen very close to him, 2.3 seconds behind him, and Irvine continues to close. The gap between himself and Mika Häkkinen is now 1.2 seconds. Mika Häkkinen is going to be under very real pressure soon.
Yes, and Irvine, he spun there this morning, the back end of the car, getting a little bit out of shape. You do tend to run more rear brake bias. Coulthard's still homing in too. You do tend to run more brakes to the rear on this circuit so that you don't block a front too often. James, what can you tell us?
Well, I've spotted something else, Martin, that traffic, which is the Salo, Diniz, Lacey battle. The three of them are very close together on the track. That's what slowed Schumacher down about 5 laps ago. And Mika Häkkinen is now closing in on that gang. He's about a lap or two away from encountering them. We're entering to the pivotal point of the race now. This is why Irvine's putting pressure on Häkkinen. It's because I think Ferrari are hoping that battle will hold Häkkinen up, and that'll give Schumacher the window he needs, the 8 seconds he needs to come in and get back out again in front of Mika Häkkinen. We're getting into the fun part of the race now, boys.
Well spotted as ever, James. James, if you could surreptitiously sidle down to the McLaren garage and ask them if they're worried about this oil smoke and Coulthard's, it would be very interesting. But there's Häkkinen, there is Eddie Irvine, and it's now down to under 1 second. It's come from 1.6 seconds to under a second.
New lap record for Michael Schumacher, a 1:22.6. He wants to open that gap back up, which is now 17.7 seconds, as you can see. So Schumacher, and look, as Murray's already told you, under a second now. It's a lot easier to chase than be chased, especially around this racetrack. You don't have any time to be looking in your mirrors, and a red flash coming through them, especially into slow corners where your pursuer always seems to be catching you. You're convinced he's braking later than you, and in reality he's not, because you open it out again on the way out. But it's an effect you very much feel inside the car.
Yeah, Eddie Irvine really trying as Michael Schumacher increases the gap, nearly up to 18 seconds ahead of Mika Häkkinen. It's still Rubens Barrichello 5th, Frentzen 6th, Fisichella 7th, Villeneuve still in 8th position ahead of Jarno Trulli and Alex Wurz in the Benetton. Johnny Herbert is in 11th place, Salo is 12th, Lacey and Diniz in the Saubers are 13th and 14th. Zanardi a lap down, 15th in the Williams.
22.2, 1 minute 22.2 for Michael Schumacher up there in the lead. Let's see what that does to his overall lead. An amazing lap time.
That is 0.7 of a second faster than Mika Häkkinen's fastest lap last year. It's an amazing drive. Because I'll just say it once more, and then I'll assume everybody knows what I'm talking about. These 4 groove tyres offer less grip, and he's still getting on to a second faster than Mika Häkkinen was last year. Incredible. Mika Häkkinen, Eddie Irvine, there is the gap. And Irvine closes up on braking, and Coulthard is right up there too. Now, I don't want to start getting alarmist. I'm starting to wonder if Mika Häkkinen has got some sort of a problem, the way both the cars behind him are closing on him.
I still subscribe to what I said earlier on, that the Ferrari is just handling better around here, using its tyres less, and giving the driver an easier time. But having said that, Coulthard is really homing in on the pair of them, frankly.
James Allen News.
Oh, look at this traffic.
Hold on, James. still hold on because De La Rosa moves over. Hakkinen takes him, and Eddie Irvine is challenging now for second position as they come up to the Ras Kass. Just hold on a minute, James. We'll be with you very quickly. This is a real battle developing for second place between Mika Hakkinen, the world champion, and Eddie Irvine, the winner of the Australian Grand Prix. His first victory for Ferrari. And David Coulthard has also got past the arrows. Is it a quick one, James? Let's have it.
Yeah, it is. I'm down at McLaren, and the engineers of Mercedes don't look at all concerned by Coulthard's engine. It's obviously something long-term, but nothing that they can do anything about.
Thanks for that, James. Thank you. So...
well, just to let you know, and his car's going straight on again. Who's that? Villeneuve, isn't it?
It's Villeneuve.
Yeah, I think it's Villeneuve. I don't think he'll get penalised. It's Johnny, isn't it? I think it's Johnny Herbert.
Johnny Herbert out of the race, as I've said many times.
Oh, something's broken. Oh, look,
yeah,
the right rear wheel. He did well to hold that. Well done, Johnny. I mean, sheer fear, I'd imagine.
That's coming down to Casino Square, down to the Mirabeau.
Down to Mirabeau, yeah, and he's obviously, he may have nerfed the barrier earlier on in the race. Villeneuve's in the pit lane as we look at Johnny Herbert's stricken car up the escape road, but Johnny doing extremely well to hold that. If you nerf a barrier here, often you get a payback a few laps later as the loads are going through the suspension, and suddenly you've got a wheel pointing in the wrong direction.
Second, third, fourth, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, lap 35 out of 78. Eddie Irvine is pushing Mika Hakkinen very hard indeed. And meantime, Michael Schumacher maintains his meteoric pace. He is nearly 23 seconds ahead of this battle for second place. And Mika Hakkinen now can't be content with just watching the track ahead of him. He will know that Eddie Irvine is behind him and that he's got to resist, resist, resist.
Villeneuve is out of the race. We saw him go straight on at the chicane. He then pitted on that same lap. So Villeneuve out of the race in the BAR. Still no points for them. And we may pick it up in a minute. I think there's rather a lot of smoke coming out of the back of it. Hopefully the director will go in and show us what's going on there. But meanwhile, Hakkinen coming up to those back markers that cost... oh, here we go.
Oh,
that was a
wow.
nice move from Alesi. And was it Alesi coming through there? Yes, it was. Alesi coming through and saying, OK, go, I'm coming through. It's up to you. What are you going to do about it? And maybe Salo was just watching the traffic coming up behind him, and Alesi seized the moment. And that's exactly how you've got to drive around Monaco.
And he moved in the process up to 10th position by passing Mika Salo. So Jean Alesi, and now they're streaming through the field. There is Mika Salo. They're all whizzing past him in the VAR, including Mika Hakkinen and Eddie Irvine, and David Coulthard will be the next.
Yes, I mean, to make it clear to the teams now up on the computer here, every time a blue flag is waved at a back marker, it's recorded on the computer for all of the teams to see. And this whole blue flag issue is becoming much bigger, and you can see it's having a very positive effect because it's not interrupting this race too much.
And meantime, Michael Schumacher in the lead has lapped everybody up to 8th position. 8th position, Jarno Trulli, and he is 1 minute and 12 seconds behind Michael Schumacher. So he's going to be caught and lapped by the time this race ends, as Hakkinen, Irvine...
Where's Coulthard? Didn't see Coulthard go through the picture.
Where is David? I didn't see him at the Ras Kass.
He's done a very slow lap as Coulthard. That's why he's dropped off the back of that picture. I don't know whether it was with traffic. It was some 7 or 8 seconds off the pace was Coulthard on that run, so on that particular lap. And that's why he's dropped off the back of this scrap for second place. Be interesting to see what happens.
Well, David Coulthard now 8 seconds, over 8 seconds behind Eddie Irvine, who continues to push hard to distract Mika Hakkinen in second position down to the chicane. This is lap 36. And there's the Jordan of Damon Hill pushed into the barrier in the background.
I think Coulthard's going to be out of this race very shortly. He's 7 seconds off the pace in the first sector of this next lap. Ferrari team getting ready for a stop. That'll be earlier than I expected. Maybe they'll pull Irvine in to try to get him track position on what is clearly a slower McLaren in front of him at the moment. Does Irvine duck in the pits this time? No. Maybe it's next time. Maybe the team are just bluffing to say they're going to bring him in.
They've got to come out. They are not allowed to come out till the lap that the driver that they're going to service is coming in, if you follow me. So I reckon it must be Michael Schumacher, especially as he's got a 27-second lead now, potentially eventually he can come in, stop, take on fuel and tyres and get out again, still in the lead. And I do hope that they let us see this line that he takes into the pits.
Now, with the information, Murray, from the pits is it's going to be Irvine, but they'll be looking to see where they'll feed him back in. They'll calculate how long it takes in the pit lane during the pit stop, 6.4, 6.5 seconds stop, and the time it takes to negotiate the pit lane, and see where that'll feed him back in as to regards traffic. So we still think it is going to be Irvine coming in. Schumacher going past the pit lane and merrily on his way. 27.7 seconds in the lead last time around. He could make it over 30 seconds this time.
Well, and David Coulthard has got some sort of a problem. I think it's more than traffic, because he's now 21 seconds behind third-placed Eddie Irvine in the red Ferrari there, who is right on the tail of Mika Hakkinen. Barrichello is catching Coulthard, hand over fist. Barrichello looking, and in goes Irvine. He's yours, James Allen.
Yes, they're taking advantage of the fact that Coulthard's got the engine problem. I was looking at the smoke on the Mercedes monitors coming out of the exhaust. His race is more or less over. Smart timing by Ferrari, get him out in front of Barrichello and maintain his third place.
6.7 seconds for Eddie Irvine. Comes in on lap 38. Tours out of the pits, of course. He's on a limiter there. Just slips over the yellow line. Just about made it up to Saint-Devot, and he's got through before David Coulthard. So Eddie Irvine retains his third position. David Coulthard is in the pits. David Coulthard coming in as very, very slowly. Is this a retirement? If it is, it'll be his third retirement in 4 races. Off comes the steering wheel. David Coulthard, and out goes Mika Salo in the BAR. Now, Coulthard failed to finish in Australia, he failed to finish in Brazil, he fails to finish at Monaco.
Now watch Salo, look, I think he didn't lock the wheels, look. He's lost his brakes. Now remember, Villeneuve went straight on at the chicane and pitted immediately. I would normally have expected to see blue smoke pouring off the tyres there. Didn't happen. I think this is going to be a replay of Johnny Herbert's right rear suspension buckling under. And, wow, that was a roller coaster ride down the hill. Well handled, Johnny. He's applying the brakes. It's amazing, if you keep working at it, how you can avoid an accident or turn the car and minimise the impact. Johnny working overtime there.
Well, not a good race for McLaren. They've only had one good race this year, and that was the San Marino Grand Prix. And Takagi's engine blows in the arrows. Well, it's half distance now. You see the mice are getting at the machinery, and things are getting very difficult indeed. Very disconcerting for Ralf Schumacher behind Takagi there, with the engine blowing in his face. I've seen them blow so hard and the oil smoke be so thick that you literally can't see, and if you're travelling fast in the car behind, that is terrifying. Michael Schumacher, lap 39.
We can see on a monitor outside on the circuit here that Mika Hakkinen went straight on into Mirabeau. So Hakkinen, I think he has rejoined the racetrack. We haven't seen it yet on our terrestrial feed, but looking at a diamond screen outside, I'm sure I saw Hakkinen down an escape road. So let's see if we get a replay of that. But I'll tell you what his time loss was next time past the pits.
Well, it will compound the problem. In the second sector, he was nearly 20 seconds slower than he had been in the past. So are the McLarens having a brake problem as well? That's Marc Genet in the cap, who retired a long time ago. Now, listen to the retirements we now have. That is Mika Hakkinen, incidentally. And I'm looking to see whether Eddie Irvine goes through into second place. Is it going to be Ferrari first and Ferrari second? Mika Hakkinen, no, it isn't. There's Irvine still in the background. So I don't know what happened there, because Hakkinen certainly lost time.
Yes, but don't forget Irvine had made that pit stop, which must have cost him 22 or 23 seconds. So what's happened here is that, yes, it's a 1 minute 40, so he lost 18 seconds on that. It wasn't enough to put him. There he is.
There it is.
That's, he's reversing out of the escape road down into Mirabeau. No problem there. Keeps the engine running, selects first, and on his way. But he's just given, effectively, Eddie Irvine a free pit stop. And more importantly, Michael Schumacher a free pit stop.
Moot point there, Martin. As you well know, you are not allowed to reverse on the circuit. Might there be a protest?
No, you're not allowed to reverse in the pit lane. You can reverse on the circuit. You're not allowed to be pushed by the marshals. But I think that, yes, I mean, it's a point, actually. Takagi, of course, had just blown up and gone down there, so I don't know whether Hakkinen caught a bit of his oil and water from the arrows blowing up.
Well, let's gather breath and see what's happening. This is lap 41. You're watching race leader Michael Schumacher, who is 45 seconds ahead. He can come in, take on tyres and fuel, decarbonise the engine, more or less whatever he likes, and still get out in the lead. And Mika Hakkinen there with